Alrighty, folks, here we are at the semifinals match of the USTA Beginner Tournament of 2021. This is between Asceric or TravWest and alpacascreed. This is going to be two games in this match. First game, we're going to have Alpaca as white and Asceric as black. They are both good to go, ready, set, and all that jazz. So let's get this show on the road, and we'll see how this thing turns out. Now, it is important to note that this is two games, so each person is taking a turn as each color. Alrighty, so we get adjacent corners, and let's see if we get that mirrored opening that we're so used to seeing, and we are getting that. Assuming a black here, and then a white here or here, followed by probably a capstone on one of these spots. There we go, capstone right there on E3. Now, I am a little upset that this has become sort of this meta, that everyone is playing the same opening. I'm not a big fan of that. I like to see a little bit more variety, but I think people are picking up on this and just kind of doing it right now to get that sort of out of the way, and then they do their own thing after a little bit later. So I don't think it's too big of a problem at the moment, but it could be. And we do see different responses from different players depending on what's going on. So right now we see black starting to build across here for this horizontal threat, at the same time blocking off white's vertical threat that they're still continuing to build. So it is white's turn now, and they can potentially go here to block off black's threat and continue their own. And it looks like that's what they're going to be doing. Placing here at F3. This furthers their own vertical threat while at the same time cutting off a little bit of black's horizontal threat. Now black can place down here maybe at E2, go for a vertical threat themselves, while at the same time blocking, again, white's vertical threat. They would have had momentum, and they would have been able to control sort of when white reacted to that, if they had played here E2 instead of F2. It looks like black may be more focused on this horizontal threat than the vertical one that he had going. And we see white's capstone come out. Bold move. So we're likely to see a white flat placed here at E1 or D1 on the next turn. Because we'll probably see this white flat come over and capture here. Yep, so there we go. There's that tack threat now. Capturing over F3 onto E3 is a road, but this capstone makes it a little bit more difficult to see, so that capstone blindness could come into play. Does not come into play. Instead, black makes that capture, going for that horizontal road threat at the same time. So white is going to need to make a capture here, because this is a threat that requires one. White does make the capture, makes their own tack threat. Now, here's where I would not be surprised, and it's probably not a bad idea for black to just drop a wall here onto E2. That's probably the play, and he does it. Man, I am really good at this whole prediction thing. So we're seeing... now we're seeing white kind of get blocked up here, and they don't really have too much going on in terms of offense. Whereas black has a little bit better of a position. They don't have that wall blocking them, so black can start building this vertical threat still. Sure, these white flats can come over and capture and kind of mess things up for that, but black would have momentum at this point. So white's got to think about what to do in order to stop that from happening. So it looks like white's building here to stop, maybe to go for the horizontal threat and to hold off black's eventual vertical threat. Since that horizontal threat from black is blocked off by the capstone, can't really go for that anymore. Black was probably thinking of transitioning to this vertical, but now they've got this white flat stone kind of blocking their path. and continuing on making this horizontal threat. So let's see how this turns out. Black still building down. Interesting choice to place here at C2 instead of maybe here or at B1. But I can see where they're going with it. White building across at B1, and I expect we're going to see this line built out a little bit more. Black builds across. Will we see white build up here at B1, at B2 or at A2? That's what I'm thinking is going to happen. If it's at A2, we may see a capture from black. I'm not sure. I feel like if B2 were played... Yeah, B2 and A2 are both pretty solid. I think both of those end up being good plays. Now, what I expect to see is probably an A5 or a B6. Because those moves, what they do is they make that connection, that anchor point up to this top level and also to this side. But instead we're going to see, that's an interesting play. I imagine black is thinking of capturing down and then capturing over, but still needs that anchor point up here at A5 or B6. Okay, starting to build that threat. That horizontal threat is almost there. Next turn, they will have a attack threat. And that's a pretty strong position from white. Black needs to do some work to figure this out. I feel like this opening position of the capstones was really strong for black, but white was able to transition more smoothly into this horizontal threat. Now we could see F2 placed here, which would be attack threat for white. Dropping that capstone down, smashing the wall would be attack threat after F2 is placed, and we do see that. Again, I am on a 20-second delay, so I don't think that they're listening to me. So we do have this attack threat that black needs to ward off. And he's got to do that by some sort of capture. Can't do it by any placement. Capture has to happen here. I'm thinking of dropping the capstone down might be a good play, but also could be disastrous. Tough to say. Tough to say. Oh, and black misses the threat. White gets to take the first game with a wall smash. Wall smashes are often pretty hard to see, especially for newer players, so there we go. That is game one of these semifinals, over with alpacascreed taking the win by a missed road threat. Now, it is important to note that if, in this next game, Asceric wins, then they will be tied. Oh, somebody took Alpaca's game. A guest did. So if Alpaca wins, he goes on to face Ineria yet again in the finals. If Asceric wins on this game, Asceric and Alpaca have to play blitz matches until someone comes out ahead. Now, blitz is a 3-minute base time with a 5-second increment per turn, meaning they start out with 3 minutes each, and every turn they play, they get 5 seconds added to their clock. Now, that's what happens if Asceric wins here. They will have to play those matches. Not sure if they'll play them today or if they'll schedule for another time. Hopefully they'll schedule them today, assuming this game doesn't last 45 minutes. Then, basically they have to keep playing pairs of matches until one person wins both of the pairs, both of the matches, both of the games in that match. Wow, I am not making that clear. So we are seeing an interesting, slightly different opening from Asceric here, not playing in these center squares, but we are seeing that mirrored opening, except extended off to the side. Now this is interesting because White's giving up center control here, hoping to maybe win on a bit of an edge crawl. Not a complete edge crawl or a traditional edge crawl because it's not, again, against the edge. But this standard opening sequence of Black does help out. So we'll see how White responds to this. Throwing that capstone up against a wall isn't a great strategy typically. And I think what you might see is White capture over, and then it'd be really difficult for Black to not capture that stack again, and then White can drop a capstone here at e4. Which would be a tricky move, and one that you really wouldn't see in an established match. You would see it in a beginner match, potentially. But it's something that Asceric may have learned and picked up from his matches with Ineria. If you haven't seen those matches, you can check those out on the YouTube channel. Where Ineria isolated the capstone of Asceric in both games they played, and it really devastated him. And that basically what would have happened here had he gone for that capture move instead. So we do see Black come over, capture to stop this threat. I think I would have liked better to drop a flat down here at e1 first, just to get more flats on the board, establish a little bit more positioning. But instead he captures over and then White fills in here. So not quite continuing the threat, but ooh, dropping that wall there is pretty devastating for White. White's going to have to do some work in order to come back from that. Now, dropping a capstone here is not a great idea for White. Even though it would threaten to smash this wall, not a great plan. Specifically because you've got the wall able to move up onto f4 and then further isolate the capstone. So it was a good play dropping here at e1 because this sort of pins this capstone here and allows White to use it as a horizontal threat and block a vertical threat from Black. So dropping here at d1 and then continuing across is sort of the same move that Alpaca used in the last game as White, and it seemed to work out for him. White instead dropping a capstone up here. So this is traditionally not a bad spot for a capstone because of a few factors. Number one, it can't be isolated on the next move in that it can capture over here and capture down here, and both of those sort of interrupt a threat and work in, well, this move would work more offensively. So I don't think that White needed to do that at this point in the game. Is my only concern, because White doesn't have to worry about a horizontal threat from Black at this point. Black doesn't have an option of capturing over making a threat, even in 2 moves. It would take more. So White should have kept on building across horizontally and dropped something out here after the fact. I feel like that would have been stronger. Even waiting for maybe a capstone capture and then drop a capstone in its place, something like that. I feel like something of that nature would have worked a little bit better, but I'm not sure what White is going for now. They seem to be working very defensively. And this is a trap that Fella fell into. That was unintentional. But Fella kind of fell into this pattern of playing overly defensive in the earlier games of this beginner tournament that you can also watch on the channel. And what she did was play these defensive moves before they were necessary. When Fella had the momentum and sort of could drive the direction of the game, they were still playing defensive. And that allowed their opponent to catch back up. So in this case, I believe that's what's happening to Asceric. Asceric is playing these defensive moves when really they should be playing these offensive moves. So we do see right now white building across here at b5. This does create it's close to a threat. So if we see an a5 here from white next, we will get attack threat. Dropping that down, d6 down, would be attack threat. And so not completely defensive, but I think they started that way, and then he sort of figured out, okay, I need to start doing something a little bit more offensive here. All right, let's see. So far, in terms of positioning, I mean, it's hard to say who's got the lead right now. Black has this really strong position. Very powerful to have that there. Black moving away from white's capstone here. I think seeing a placement here at e6 would work, because that would help further the road threat from white on that horizontal plane. Doesn't have anything to worry about there. This capstone is still sort of pinned. It can't go up, otherwise fill-in would win. So I think white might have a better position currently, but black, I think for the end game, if they can survive long enough and hold things together, I think black has the stronger position for something like a 40-move, 50-move game. And so right now we're not seeing attack threat from black, but we are seeing something build. Now black has an anchor point. And that anchor point here means that once he's able to get a black piece over here, maybe by capturing over onto f5, that would be attack threat. It would be easily stopped by capturing f6 down, but it is something to notice. And he's got this sort of pattern built up. But what white can do is drive that. So by placing here at a5, that's what I was about to say. So driving that, what white has done is made their own attack threat. And so now black needs to respond to white's horizontal threat before black can make their own horizontal threat. And it needs to be with a capture, because placing here or here won't do anything since they're both options to complete that road. The capture does come out. I don't like that one nearly as much as I liked this one up. Specifically because this one wouldn't have been immediately captured back by that flat stone. So the b4 plus would have been a much stronger move in the end. So we do see this black flat stack coming up. Now what I wouldn't be surprised to see is d6 to the right to capture that. That would be attack threat in this direction. But instead they're placing. And I find that interesting. I'm assuming that they expected a wall here would be placed immediately after capturing that stack. So a wall is placed. Will we see a smash? Will we see a capture? What is gonna happen next? I am intrigued. I think capturing over with d6 to the right is not a bad move. Even smashing isn't so bad of a move at this point. Unfortunately, this wall is alone. It's not carrying any friendly prisoners from white to help use that stack as sort of a way to spread out and gain a little bit more influence on the game board. But we are seeing, instead of placement here at c6, smart move, because capturing up would allow for a attack threat. Oh, that's attack threat, and Alpaca seemed to have missed it. White wins. Now they go on to play some blitz matches. Let's see, 3 minutes plus 5-second increment. And so I'm not sure if they're aware of that, but that is the rules. And so let's see if they're going to do that now. Until one of you loses twice. Yep. They're questioning how to proceed, and I am fulfilling them in the Discord chat that you can't see. But if you headed over to the Discord, which is linked below in either Twitch or YouTube, you can check out the Discord server, which is where all of the chat happens for, basically, it's the community hub for all of tech. So check that out. Looks like Alpaca is going to be white this time. And here is our first Blitz match. Our first Blitz game of the tournament. This is fantastic. We just finished up a Blitz tournament less than a week ago, and it was fantastic. It took 3 hours to play 9 rounds of Swiss, and it was great. Okay, so we're seeing very quick opening, not the standard mirrored opening that we normally see here even from these two players. We're seeing white build across for this vertical road threat. Black coming across with his capstone. I like black's position here. I think it's really strong. I think it's a stronger position than white's at this moment. White playing here to sort of be defensive. I think we're going to see black make a threat here pretty quick for a horizontal. White instead capturing instead of placing. Whoops, sorry about that. That was funky. Woo! Okay. So that is... I don't know why that wall dropped there. I have to assume that that was a misclick. And so white building along on this vertical line to go for that vertical tack threat. Just trying to play very quickly here. Now, it's important to note that both of these players are playing very fast and much quicker than they need to for a blitz match. So, like I said, they get 5-second increment. On each turn, they get 5 seconds added to their time. And they start with 3 minutes. And they're playing above the increment at this point. So, Alpaca is playing at about average of 5 seconds per turn. Asceric is playing much below that because he is still above that original starting time of 3 minutes. So we do see white building down, but I don't think that's... that carry limit might come into play here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So white needs to capture up here at D5. Capturing up here at E5 would not be the play. So D5 up is going to have to be the way to do it. Okay, does make that play. How will black respond in this case? Because I feel like C5 over to D5 is probably the move you want to make here. Because like a capstone or a wall here would just get responded to by throwing this down and continuing in that direction. And we've already got white's threat opened up and interrupted, so it doesn't have to really worry about any of that. So I feel like capturing here is the best move. But, ooh, he instead throws that across. I would not be surprised to see white drop a capstone here, because that would further that vertical threat. And what? I'm very confused by dropping the flat there. That is Tinue. So it seems that white missed that was Tinue. And that's the game. Nothing white can do at this point, and that's going to be over. So that's going to be the first game won by won by Asceric, because Alpaca did forfeit that game because he knew that he had lost. So let's go back and see the point where he made the mistake here. It was placing at D4. If he had instead placed a capstone here or even a wall here, it would have stopped this from happening. So let's get ready for game 2, where this time Asceric is white. If Asceric wins this, he goes on to face Ineria in the finals. All right, we are seeing adjacent corners and mirrored opening here. A little bit more standard. Apologies if you can hear some background noise. Everybody has a life, right? Okay, so we're seeing that vertical threat develop. We're going to see that capstone come over, interrupt things. Now, will white transition start building across horizontally? They will, right across here at C5. I was pointing with my mouse, but you couldn't see that. Capstone drops, ready to interrupt everything. Great positioning for that capstone. I think that's really solid because it can come right here and cut black's capstone off from everything, or go there. I don't like that one nearly as much as coming over to C3, but that's fine. I can see white building up here, building down below, white doing all sorts of things to do that, but instead they're building up at A5. This is for that horizontal threat going in this direction. I like that move. Will we see white play out here before capturing, or will we see them capture first? We do see the capture first. Now, this isn't anywhere close to a Tinue like we saw in the last game because these can't be easily recaptured. Also, black does have the momentum here, can continue placing down here at B2, up here at B4 like they've done. Another wall would work here. Now we might just see B4 come over to A4. Instead, we're going to see him place down below. Just continue placing and placing and placing until he's run out of placement options. Then he can make his captures to make those threats more real. I think this is looking very good for black, actually, in this moment. So if we see B1 come over to A1, for example, white is going to have to either move this wall up or move this A2 over. So we don't. So white now gets a chance to play their offensive move over here at E5 or at E6, which would force black to respond. Now, if black comes down with A6 to stop this threat, that's also a threat of their own that white would have to respond to by using this capstone to come across. Big plays coming on here. Very quick play. And we do see a capture come up instead. I was surprised by that move because it wasn't a capture down with A6, which I feel like would have bettered black's position quite a bit more. Dropping a flat there, which is just going to get covered up by the spread, I have to imagine. Oh, and then we may see the black capstone be thrown up to capture that stack now, which does how to. Yep, that was his plan all along, to get that stack. That was good play. Black's in a pretty solid position right now. White sure had some stuff going for him, but right now that seems to be dwindling pretty quickly. For white, I wouldn't be surprised to see this stack be thrown across to the left, cover up here on C4 and on B4. That move, while wouldn't be too great in terms of a road, would be good strategic for flat count, which right now black is definitely winning on. Instead, they're just going to keep building across here, go for their road threat, which can be easily interrupted by black with this big stack they have now. How will black respond? Will they use this to capture up? Will they capture down? Will they drop a wall here? A wall here would work because now this capstone's in that spot. Even a flat stone will work, yeah. Ooh, we may see something good in a moment. I would not be surprised to see black move this stack over, or even part of the stack over, to go for this vertical threat. White making their own threat now. Another attack threat, capturing up with C5 would do it. Instead, we're seeing another attack threat here from black. Capturing over to D6 does create attack threat by spreading this stack downward into this position. Creates a road from B1 all the way to D6. So let's see if that is what happens if white misses that. White does have a minute and a half on the clock. Alpaca 2 minutes, 22 seconds. White does miss that. Black does make the road. So Alpaca won both of those. That means 2 more. All right, so we're getting to see a little bit more blitz action coming on here. Okay, this is fun. So they get to play another 2 games to see who comes out on top. This is fun. I like these blitz games. They're quick, they're dirty. I like it. Okay. Quick openings here. It's that same very quick deviation. We get this capstone plate in this spot here. Asceric really likes that opening, jumping up in there with that capstone, getting it in there. This is very close to a mirror image of one of the games we just saw. I am surprised he played here at F5 instead of here at F4. I feel like that may have been a better play, but I still like where we're going with this. Okay, sorry about that. Had to let the dog out. Okay, and we're back. All right, so white's dropping a capstone up here. Typically, it's not great to drop a capstone up against a wall, but in this particular case, I don't think it's too bad of a play. My reasoning for that is white can come down onto D5 to interrupt this threat, also create their own threat. Now, what black probably needs to do is what I was about to say, D5 minus. White moving the capstone by itself. Now, that is definitely not a move you like to see. That was crazy. Okay, so we do see this come down here. We're making this vertical threat for white. It's not going to be too long-lived, I don't think, because we do have this black capstone here that can come over and capture, and I just don't see it working out too well. But white's going to keep going for it. Force black's hand. Now, what black probably wants to do is, I was going to say drop a flat down here at E1 to delay that a little bit, put a little more pieces on the board. But instead, we'll probably see E2 come up and capture this spot. No, we're not. We're seeing him build around. I don't think that was the right call. Now, black has this stack that black can use to spread up, wreak some havoc with this. Probably not where the capstone can reach it, but capturing up here would not be a bad play at all. Actually, I think that would be the ideal play, is to leave one black flat behind and capture over, just like what I was saying. Wow, that's magical how they do that. And so now we're seeing this horizontal threat develop for black. Yeah, leaving that stack alone, I don't know. I don't think that was a great play. Alpaca not going for this. Does know that he can win this stack war by coming down with this flat. Kind of, because this capstone is going to come over and capture it. But then this capstone can come down and ruin the horizontal threat that black is building. But black can basically decide to go a different direction, deciding not to move the capstone, deciding to block and isolate that white capstone in. And we've seen white do it before in this game. White may decide to move this capstone over and make that capture. And if he does, you better believe this black capstone is going to come over and capture that stack. Instead, we see white move that stack away. I agree with that play. I think that was the right play. Now we should probably go see black place here at F4. Build that connection. Build that anchor point. Now, I can see white playing here at E1 and then capturing over with this capstone onto this, building a hard capstone to then drop it down onto this road for a road. And if they, or drop it down onto this wall for a road. And if they do that, Black is going to have to move this capstone over to block that. And then white can take this and spread it out, dropping 1, 2, 3, and then probably 4. I think the whole stack, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, the whole stack can be thrown across, creating almost a Tinue. Like, that would have been the play, dropping here at E1. But instead, white can't do that anymore because that momentum is gone. Black is already building along that road. And that's it. That's Tinue. That is the game. Did not get that built quick enough. Asceric does take this first game of the second set of Blitz matches. Asceric takes it as black. Interesting to see, because last Blitz match, we did see them both win as black. Oh no, that wasn't Tinue. I missed that move. Aha, not Tinue. Okay. All right, I'm blind to that. I thought for whatever reason I didn't see the capstone on top. And so they can throw it over. White will probably recapture that. And they do. Will we see a wall here at B5? Wow, I was very premature. Definitely not Tinue. I was blind. For whatever reason, I thought once this had been made that this capstone was still here blocking the stack. I don't know why. I just couldn't see it. I did not see the move. I did not see this move here of D5 moving over to C5. Anyway, back to the game. We do see the wall come out from black, stopping it. And then a white wall? Don't know what that was about. I'm going to have to assume it was a misclick. Not sure why a wall would be placed there. But now we do see black starting to build down here. Probably going to go for maybe not a vertical threat. Maybe he's building around for a horizontal, but if you can't get that, he'll probably go for the vertical. C2 being played now. Now this works out in white's favor because white can build a... Now white has a tack threat here. It is a vertical tack threat. Placing here or moving the capstone down does create a vertical tack threat. Black either has to move this up or this capstone up or one of these flats over in order to stop this vertical tack threat. Or drop a wall right here. Also an option. And they decided to drop a wall right there on C4. All right. How will this play out? I am excited to see. Now, what you could see is you could see white leave a white behind. Could see white leave a black behind, capture here, and threaten that way. I was expecting that, but I didn't know what was going to happen first, because you know that this is just going to get recaptured. And so I'm wondering what he hopes to gain by this, because he knows that this isn't going to be a win where he could just place at F4 and take the win. There's going to be a capture war over this, and while black will win the capture war, he won't be able to make an immediate threat, and white can threaten it with a wall or something like that. Ooh, I like this play from white. So here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking white in one of these next moves. So white wants to play where capturing across, I think, is the move here. So leave one behind, leave two here. Or leave one, and then two. and then place here at a3, come over with this, and that's a two-pronged threat coming down to make a connection horizontally and coming up to make a connection vertically. So that might be nice. Black does have a road threat now. White covered it up in that direction. Didn't want to use that stack for some reason. Black can now come up, capture this, get recaptured, and sort of keep this pattern going. I'm not sure why. Maybe to drop a wall on there later. Unsure. Okay, Black deciding to throw that up. Does not lose him the game. Does create a problem for him, though. Black can... Okay, Black just placing, going for the threat. White missed it. Black takes the win. Oh, White missed the threat. That's awful. Oh, because they were both down to 15 seconds on the clock. No wonder. These blitz games, I tell you, after playing in the tournament just this past Saturday, how many days ago was that? 6 days ago. I can tell you, blitz games absolutely melt your brain. Halfway through the tournament, I couldn't even think anymore. And so I'm assuming they're having that same problem. Clearly, I had that problem because I thought it was Tinue way at the beginning when it wasn't even close. So, missing road threats is going to be a thing in blitz, and it's definitely going to be a thing in a blitz beginner tournament. That's for sure. So, game 2 of this match, which is actually game 6 total of this match because it's all these blitz overtimes. Oh man, this is fun. This is getting good. They thought that that Trav had won, but no, that's not the case. Trav wins if he wins this game. But if Alpaca wins this game, they go on to play 2 more games. 6 total blitz games right now. Will they play an extra 2? All comes down to this game. And again, whoever wins this match, this big crazy match with all these games, does play against Ineria in the finals. Now, it is the finals, but it is not the grand finals. And the reason there's a distinction between that is because the finals, this is a double elimination bracket, which means Ineria, who has not lost yet, has to lose twice. So, if whoever wins this goes up against Ineria, they have to beat Ineria twice in order to win, whereas Ineria only has to win once to win. So, that's why it's the finals, and not grand finals. But anyway, back to the game. We do see Asceric going with this exact same opening that we're seeing over and over again from him in these matches. We see a capstone dropped, and then we see from White, which is an interesting spot for one. We saw it in the past few games. We see another capture up onto this, interrupting that threat prematurely. We see White just building around it, dropping more flats on the board, getting more influence and more positioning power. I like this. I like the play from that. I think that it's a strong move, building more for a threat. Building across here at f5 or at f4 or at e6 would be a tack threat. Capturing down with d5 to d4 would be a tack threat. Now, typically, you'd say, oh yeah, but it's just going to get recaptured and it's not going to amount to anything. But this is blitz. It's easy to miss these things when you're thinking quickly. Instead, he goes for the initial capture, probably expecting this flat to come up and capture, so we can recapture it with e4. There we go. Now we'll probably see this be thrown up, dropping 2, and then dropping 2 on d6. And that is what we see. This is not a attack threat. He does have to play two pieces in order to establish a attack threat at this point. Black comes over with the wall, wanting to get some of these prisoners back. Now, this is a great position for Black. Black is about to get really strong based on this. White has to prematurely do something. I suggest probably taking b4, moving it up here onto b5, so that this capstone can be thrown across, smash a wall, and recapture. I think that's the play. It's a preemptive play, knowing what's about to happen and counting on it. Instead, White just makes attack threat again. We're going to see Black capture over. We're going to see White do something. I'm not sure what, though, because it's probably going to lead to this big stack being captured by the wall and then covering up these flats from White, giving a huge flat advantage and going more towards a road threat. Instead, White decides to play here at b6, not really sure why, maybe to stop an eventual Black threat. I really liked b4 going up to b5 instead to smash that wall when it came over, but there you go. And yes, this capstone is isolated. A little trick that White learned from Ineria, perhaps, like I was saying earlier. Isolated capstone, no joke. Okay, so we do see Black moving in, trying to make this vertical threat happen using this wall stack. Black making the recapture, interesting move. Playing a wall there, that's what you expect to happen. Wanting to recapture that stack. What will Black do in response? I imagine something like throwing this stack down, getting this capstone back in the game, because that would be a way to do it. Throw this stack, leave one, leave one, leave one, or no, so leave one black, leave one black. Oh yeah, leave one black, one black, one black, and then drop the wall here, smash it with the capstone, bring that capstone back in the game. Oh wait, is that game? Did they miss it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, so we can't pick up this whole stack because it's 7. Carry limit is 6, so we can't move this whole stack here. Ooh, that would have been dirty. So instead, he's dropping a flat there. Not really going to help him. He should have spread that stack out and then waited for the smash on with the capstone, because now he's kind of stuck with that stack where it is. Alpaca now. Alpaca in Black. He is at 1:45. Asceric at 2 minutes. We do see White come back over, capture, block that stack from moving. Black building, making another attack threat. Placing here at d4 would be a road. White saying, I want none of that. Black capturing up, making another attack threat. Will White come over with the wall? No, White comes over with the flat stone. Black comes down. White probably comes over with the wall. White does come over with the wall. Black, what is Black going to do? Can make a play with this stack. Can make a play with the capstone. Making a play with the capstone. Wants to get in this line. Doesn't want this wall stack to be thrown up in that direction. Instead, White's probably going to throw the wall stack in that direction. No, it does go up. Black, in order to get that stack, will have to throw up here first. And if he does, opens himself up to a attack threat from White. Instead, Black placing here. White is making a attack threat. It is horizontal. Black stops the attack threat by coming up with the capstone stack, leaving no pieces behind. White still making attack threat now, moving this wall off to the side would be attack threat. One way to stop that, to capture up. Another way to stop that, drop a wall right here onto b5 so this wall can't move there. Kind of a tricky play, a little unintuitive, but it does work. Black is moving up to stop that threat. Are we going to see white drop a flat here at d4? We are. That is going to be another attack threat. Black dropping a wall to stop it entirely. Now, there's nothing that white can do to renew this threat at this time, but black's capstone is essentially pinned. He cannot smash either of these walls. If he does, he immediately loses to a road that he creates himself for white. What white wants to do in this situation is maintain that threat. So white's going to keep building up this vertical threat here and not worry about this positioning at all, because white knows they've got this capstone pinned, can't really do anything, and they are winning on flats at this point, and they have fewer reserves to go. So they control when this game ends. Now, black building across on this horizontal threat, white is going to have to respond in that way in order to stop that from happening. Black moving up here, ready to capture down, make a threat. White instead taking control. Black needs to place probably a wall here to stop this stack from coming over. Does make that right directional call. I would not be surprised to see white take this stack, throw it across onto d1 and e1, just to make a great flat move in this point in the game. White instead placing up here. Interesting. I can see white being in trouble here if black makes some good moves. This is not attack threat from white. Moving this wall over onto this stack would not make him lose, because this is not a winning spot. I think capturing this would have been the move, building out this horizontal threat. White instead content to just keep placing pieces on the board and eventually winning on flat count. One, two, three, four, five. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 flats, I believe, for white to go. Black's got some work ahead of him. I don't see a way out for black at this point. After placing this wall here, doesn't look too great. Moving this wall onto the stack at c1 would be good, but white would probably follow it up with a stack with a wall at b1 to stop that horizontal threat from happening. So we do see flat placed at b5. So now capturing over the wall isn't even an option anymore. Because capturing over with this wall would lead to white just placing a flat here and winning. So white's content to just keep filling the board up and eventually pushing this to a flat win. And Asceric did win the last game. Okay, will we see a recapture? I imagine we will. No, we're just going to see a placement. Another placement for another threat. 2 reserves for white. White does take this whole match. If he wins, I'll pack it down to 15 seconds on the clock. Asceric at 1 minute on the clock. And that is the final flat played, and the game is over. Excellently played to both of you. That was a fantastic match. It was really fun to see all these 4 overtime games in Blitz. You guys were pretty well evenly matched. I think we can conclude that and say that without any doubt that you guys were pretty evenly matched because of how long it took this match to end. So, thank you guys for playing. Well done. The winner of this particular match goes to Asceric. Asceric goes on to face Ineria in the finals. In order to win the whole tournament, Asceric has to beat Ineria twice. Ineria, in order to win the whole tournament, has to beat Asceric 1 time, since Ineria already did that. So, that is the end of this match, and I will call it a day. And go check out all things TAC in the links below, whether you're on Twitch or YouTube. Check it out. Discord is where all the community stuff happens. Go play online at playtac.com. Go check out the rules if you want to learn how to play. I have some how to play videos. We've got all sorts of fun stuff out there, all available free for you to use. Also, you can play asynchronous games on the Discord server now using a special Discord bot that allows you to play them in the Discord. Asynchronous meaning there's no time limit or anything like that. You can take 2 days to play a single move if you want to. Anyway, that is all. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, and happy tacking.